Hello YouTube, this is Thomas Judge, rounding the last corner and heading into the last straight for these DC reading guide videos. To give you a bit of background, I read the entire DC New 52, 3,646 issues, and I spent the last month going through day by day a comprehensive map that I created that details what the particular families and groups of comics are, how to read them, what I'd recommend, all the quirks and missing issues and crossovers and tie-ins, and so on. And today's video is getting right near the very end. This is video 12.1, which I called The Goofy. Now, before we go any further, I'm just going to stress, even if you're familiar with the New 52, even if you consider yourself a complete expert or you're only interested in one character, you should really go back and watch my introduction video. The reason for that is that I use a lot of terms and jargon and sort of framing reference things that I will use throughout my videos, stuff like type P readers and convergence lines and volumes with a small v, that I'm not going to re-explain as I go along. So if you watch this video and you find yourself getting confused, you need to go down to the description below, and in that I've got a link to the introduction video for this series. But with no further ado, here is the Ultimate New 52 reading guide, and today's episode is episode 12.1, which I like to call The Goofy. Like the last couple of videos, this is a family title I came up with myself to throw in all the series that are just so stupid, childish, immature, and basically goofy that I really can't take them seriously. Pretty much all of these are also outside the continuity of the DC New 52 universe, but despite that, they're very clearly branded New 52, and so I felt I kind of have to include them on my map. Well, with no further ado, here's the map, and the first thing we're going to do, as always, is zoom into the centre. We've got Flashpoint there in the middle, and Batman above us, and Green Lantern to the left. Batman sweeps into these yellow circles, which is the new storm, and then what we find just past the new storm are these pinkish and purple circles, and these are going to be the ones that we're going to be talking about today. So the first one we'll start off with is the one we can see here, which is just past the Forever Evil line. All the goofy stuff is just past the Forever Evil line, actually, now that you're looking at it. And the reason for that, I think, is because DC really planned the New 52 to be sort of a gritty, dark reboot, and it took them a good year or two before they decided to start lightening up a little bit. So after the Forever Evil line, you've got a bunch of what I call goofy comics. And okay, sorry, zooming back in, what we have here is Justice League 3000. Now, Justice League 3000 ran from 2013 to 2015, and it is not, under any circumstances whatsoever, part of the Justice League series of comics. That was covered in my very first part of the series in videos 2.1 and 2.2. This series, Justice League 3000, has nothing to do with that, and some people have messaged me and tweeted me asking about it. Well, here it is. Instead, this is a random outside continuity story written by J.M. DeMatteis and Keith Giffen, and illustrated by Howard Porter. I'm actually going to read you the blurb on the back of this comic, because it does sound pretty amazing. Set in the year 3000, the Justice League have been resurrected through cloning technology. DNA samples have been used to recreate Superman, Green Lantern, Batman, Wonder Woman, and the Flash. However, these duplicates of the five great legends only have fragments of their memories, experiences, heroic mentalities, and powers. Justice League 3000 is a new team of unrefined and undisciplined heroes. Some of these gaps in the team's members' powers and memories prove interesting. The friendships that exist in the previous Justice League are either different, strained, or non-existent. For example, Batman and Superman seem to despise each other. The Flash does not have his anti-friction aura and requires an artificial one to prevent incineration. Green Lantern doesn't have a ring, instead being a living incarnation of the Emerald energy and using a cloak that keeps his green aura power in check and prevents it from killing him. Superman has neither heat vision nor flight, and the team continues to remind him of this, as he often forgets. It sounds interesting, right? I mean, you can't deny that. And whilst I do have a soft spot for the first volume, and that's the one we can see here, volume 1, Yesterday Lives, that collects issues 1 to 7, by the way. By the time of the second and final volume of Justice League 3000, which you can see here, this second volume is called The Camelot War, and the series it's turned to garbage. It's just too bad, and I just can't deal with it anymore. So although it started off strong and the premise was good and I was intrigued, I just couldn't deal with it. So this is the second volume of the Camelot War. This collects issues 8 to 13. Now, issues 14 and 15, some people think haven't been collected, but they have. And we'll get to that in just a second. So, as you'll see here, that line continues up and across. And quite a while later, like genuinely quite a while later, past the convergence line in fact, you then get a spin-off sequel. I suppose not so much of a spin-off, it's a direct sequel in fact. This is Justice League 3001, which ran from 2015 to 2016. Produced by the same people, and similarly, I just didn't enjoy it and couldn't get on with it. This volume we're looking at here is volume 1, Deja Vu All Over Again. That's what it's called, Deja Vu All Over Again. And that contains Justice League 3000 issues 14 and 15. They're not orphaned issues, they're included here. And it then includes Justice League 3001, issues 1 to 6. That series then continues and ends here with Justice League 3001 volume 2, which is called Things Fall Apart. And that issue, that volume contains issues 7 to 12 before the series thankfully ends. Like I said, it seemed like it had potential. If I was writing something that had that sort of strapline, I would have gone in a very different direction, and I just absolutely didn't get what happened here. What a shame. So if we zoom out, what I'd like to do is now actually look at the core series, sort of the defining characteristic of the Goofy comics. And that was the main through line you can see here, which is just above Justice League 3000 on the map, and that is, of course, Harley Quinn. When it comes to Goofy, no one in the DC universe does it quite like her. Now, the Harley Quinn series ran from 2014 to 2016, and whilst it happens parallel to the Suicide Squad series mentioned in video 2.3, it's totally separate to it, and that's why I did not include this in my video 2.3. I'll be frank, I absolutely despise this series. That's a personal thing. I personally don't like Harley Quinn at all, so I'm just going to rattle through this as quickly as I can do politely. What we're looking at here is the cover for volume 1, which is called Hot in the City. That collects issues 0 to 8. Up here we have, that's the cover for volume 2 called Power Outage. That collects issues 9 to 13. Also an issue called Harley Invades Comic Con, and also the Harley Quinn Futures End one-shot, which actually is where that image on the cover has come from, I believe. From what I recall, the Harley Quinn Future End one-shot was not great, to be honest. Okay, what we're looking at here is volume 3. This is the cover of it. It's called Kiss Kiss Bang Stab. Collects issues 14 to 16. Annual 1, the Harley Quinn Valentine's Day special, and Harley Quinn Holiday special as well. Okay, moving on. What we have next is volume 4. Volume 4 is called A Call to Arms, and that collects issues 17 to 21 and the Harley Quinn Road Trip special. Okay, moving swiftly along, we have here, we have volume 5. This is called The Joker's Last Laugh. That collects issues 22 to 25 and also a one-shot which is called Harley Quinn, Be Careful What You Wish For. Moving swiftly along, that is followed directly by volume 6, which is the end of the Harley Quinn series. That's called Black, White and Red All Over, and this collects issues 26 to 30. Now Harley Quinn then ends, however, despite it ending, it has, as is often the way with characters like Harley Quinn and Deadpool, a bunch of random 3-issue, 6-issue miniseries spin-offs. Now, I read these spin-offs and it took me a little while to work out where they fit in, to be honest. Even if you are a Type P reader, I honestly think these can fit in almost anywhere. I'm a Type J reader, but having read them through myself, I would recommend you read them in the following order. So the first miniseries is this, which is called Harley Quinn and Power Girl, which ran from 2015 to 2016. 6 issues there. Then there was this series, which is Harley Quinn's Little Black Book, which was in 2016. Not very good, but you know, what can you do? And then it ends with this book here, which is called Harley Quinn and Her Gang of Harleys. And this is also a series that's 6 issues long and released in 2016. Yeah, there we are. That's the end of it. I'll be honest, none of these are recommended in my opinion. I mean, if you like Harley Quinn, you like goofy stuff, then by all means check it out. If you do like the series, it's available in the following omnibus formats, as well as the standard paperbacks I've just talked through. As I know she has a lot of fans, I will do a quick dive of these 3 omnibuses here, but only with a link to some of these reviews by Dog's Vault and Name and Condition in the description below, so you can go into it in more detail there without me having to do so. Omnibus 1 collects the first half of this new 52 run. Omnibus 2 collects the last half of her new 52 run. And between these 2 volumes, Omnibus 1 and Omnibus 2, they also collect all the one-shots and the various spin-off series as well. Now this bit is really important. Omnibus 3, which you can see here, collects a large part of the DC Rebirth Harley Quinn issues. This is not part of the new 52 at all. I haven't read it. I probably wouldn't recommend it even if I had read it. But I'm just saying it's not part of the new 52. So back to the map. So this is where we were with the Harley Quinn stuff. I'm just going to pan out a little bit and move across. Now, we're going to look at a couple of random ones, I'm afraid, that's sort of floating around here. What we have here, just past the convergence line, is... not that one. Here we are. This is what I want to show you. Just past the convergence line, we've got a couple of one-shot small short-lived series. And this one here is Bizarro, which ran from 2015 to 2016. Again, like I say, it's in the DCU, DCYOU era. This time stars Bizarro in a 6-issue road trip with Jimmy Olsen. It is terrible. I didn't like it at all. Yeah. Following that one down from Superman, what we have here is, and you'll notice, it's right by the Lantern section, this is the Larfleeze series. As I said, I try to group these things near each other, so even though I don't think Larfleeze is part of the Green Lanterns or the Lanterns family, if you think Larfleeze is part of the Lanterns family, it's right next to that group of comics anyway. So, Larfleeze ran from 2013 to 2014. Don't be fooled by its pretense to be a Lanterns title. As far as I'm concerned, it's not. This first volume you can see here is called Volume 1, Revolt of the Orange Lanterns. It collects issues 1 to 6, as well as the backup issue that launched it all. If you want to track that down in single issues, you'll find the backup issue in the pages of Threshold, which I discussed in video 4.2. Unbelievably, Larfleeze actually ran for a full 12 issues, and this is the second volume of it, and the second volume of it is called The Face of Greed. It actually makes sense given the cover. That collects issues 7 to 12. But, that was a bad series, I'll be honest. I did not enjoy any of these goofy comics at all. I didn't read them all in one go, but had I done so, I may well have just lost the will. So here we are, I panned back out again, and so now we're going to go up. Here are the last 2 comics to look at today. What we have here is Bat-Mite. So Bat-Mite is the northmost bubble out of the goofy section, just past the convergence line. So what we have here is a series called Bat-Mite, which ran from 2015 to 2016. It's another DCU, DCYOU series. Are you seeing a theme here? This was not a good era for DC. This time starring Bat-Mite in a 6-issue mess of a story. If you don't know who Bat-Mite is, don't worry, you're not missing out by not reading this. It's terrible. And then finally, that takes us to the last one I want to discuss, which is this series here, written by Garth Ennis. This is All-Star Section 8, and ran from 2015 to 2016. Whilst it normally ties into Garth Ennis' Hitman comics, it doesn't really. I mean, it's just goofy nonsense, to be honest. It's kind of a spin-off from Hitman, but I wasn't a big Hitman fan anyway. This volume collects issues 1 to 6, which is the entire series. However, if you do like this, you may want to check out the sequel, which was released during the DC Rebirth era, but it's so clearly goofy and random it works fine as a direct sequel to this trade collection. That's also a 6-issue series. It's called Six Pack and Dog Welder, Hard Travelling Heroes, and it is also, in my opinion, terrible, but if you can't get enough of it, there you are, go for it. So that's it for today. That's the end of the Goofy subfamily, guys. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. We have covered almost absolutely every single thing on this entire map. So thank you for staying with me for this journey. There is one little bit left to cover. Gold star for whoever manages to work out exactly what that is when they've been following along at home. But in the next video, we're actually not going to be covering that. We're going to be covering something a little bit different before we finally come back for the final video at video 14.1, which will round off this entire series. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, please like, comment, subscribe and share. As always, really keen to hear what you think. What do you think about the Goofy? Are you Harley Quinn fans out there? I know there are lots of them. I go to Comic Con, so I assume all the people wearing Harley Quinn stuff are the ones buying Harley Quinn stuff. Is that the case? Let me know. Tweet me at I am Thomas Judge, or put something in the comments below. As always, please support the channel by heading over to Amazon. Please check out my prose novel, which is about superheroes and comic books, and is pretty good, even if I do say so myself. It's called No Gods or Kings, and it's available for less than $1. It's a series of interviews from a future where superpowers are real, and the entire world has changed dramatically as a result. If you've got Kindle Unlimited, it is free, but still I'd really appreciate it if you could download it, have a read, and maybe leave me a review. If you're interested in downloading this map, then please do so by going to my website nogodsorkings.com. That's in the description below, and you can download the map for free and also check out a free excerpt from the book. So why not do that and support the channel? Until next time, stay classy.